Let's learn how to rename, insert, and delete worksheets in Excel. This Excel workbook has 3 sheets. Now, I'm not worried about the data at all. We are only going to be talking about the sheets. I can click through all of these sheets and navigate through them by clicking each one. The currently selected sheet will always be bold-faced and highlighted in white. Now, there's a few things that we can do with sheets, and the first thing that you might want to do is add a new one. You can do that by right-clicking on any sheet and choosing Insert or clicking the plus sign all the way at the end. It's going to pop in a brand new sheet, and now I can rename it. I can either right-click and choose Rename, or I can double-click where it says Sheet 2 and just start typing. I'll call this one Customers. I'll hit Enter, and it's created. Now I can enter all the data I want on this sheet. If I decide that I want customers right next to employees, I can click and drag and move it around. I can even make it first in the list, and I can shuffle around any of these existing sheets too. I'll just click and drag on them and let go where I want them. Let's right-click one more time. If I hover my mouse over tab color, I can also change the color of the label. I can do that to any sheet I want. I'll make them all different colors, and you'll notice that the currently selected one is still always going to be a different shade of white with the color just at the bottom, and it'll still be bold-faced. The final thing that I can do with the sheet is delete it. I'll right-click again, choose Delete, and because I didn't have any data on that sheet, it's just going to delete it. If I did have data like this one, and I deleted it, I'm going to get an "Are you sure you really want to do that?" There we go, it's warning me. I'll hit Cancel because I don't want to delete the sheet, but that's how you can work with multiple worksheets in your Excel workbook. Now, let's learn how to insert and delete columns and rows. I'm in the Delete and Filter file, and I'm on the Addresses tab. You can delete a column or row by clicking the number or letter to select the entire row or column. And either from the Home ribbon tab, you can click Delete here on the right-hand side, or you can right-click with your mouse and choose Delete. The row disappears. I'll hit Ctrl-Z to undo that, or Command-Z if I'm on a Mac. You can also select multiple rows by clicking and dragging with your mouse and doing it the same way. Now, by the way, I don't want to hit the Delete key on my keyboard, because all that's going to do is delete the contents of the cell. It's still going to leave the actual big gaps in the rows themselves. So, I'll right-click and choose Delete, and both rows are gone. There is a gotcha, however. I'm going to select this entire row. It also includes this table. If I right-click and choose Delete, it's going to delete part of the data in that table, and that's not what I want. In fact, this time we got lucky because we could see this data, but sometimes if you scroll over, there's more data here on the right-hand side, and you'd never know that that was being deleted also. Now you can get around this by only selecting the number of contents that you want to actually delete. For example, I'll click and drag with my mouse and only select this data. Now when I right-click and choose Delete, I'm prompted with a choice. I do want to shift the cells up. I'll click OK, and it deleted the row and only shifted these cells up, but it left this table intact. You can do the same thing with a column. To delete a column, click on the column letter, right-click, and choose Delete again. Again, if I hit the Delete key on my keyboard, it's just going to leave me with a blank column, and that's not what we want. I'll bring that data back. Now just as commonly as you'll be deleting rows and columns, you'll also be inserting them in Excel, and it works much the same way. The first thing that you might want to do is insert a row above this one. So, I'll click the row number to select the entire row, and again, I can either click Insert from the Home ribbon tab, or I can right-click and choose Insert. The new blank row will be inserted directly above where the cursor was. I'll undo that. Now also, just like deleting, if I wanted to, I could only select a certain number of cells in the row. For example, I can stop here. So this way I'll insert a row, but keep this table here intact. I'll right-click, choose Insert, and again, I get that prompt. And now this time, because it's inserting the row above what's selected, it's going to shift the rest of the cells down. I'll click OK, and here we go. It's the same with columns. I'll right-click a column, choose Insert, and that column gets introduced to the left of the column that I had selected. Now there's one more thing that's really neat, and you can do this with deletions too. You can insert multiple rows or columns at the same time. For example, let's say I need 2 new rows of data. I can select 2 rows by clicking and dragging with my mouse, right-click, choose Insert, and I get to brand new rows above here. This also works for deletions if you wanted to delete 2 rows at the same time. I'll right-click, choose Delete, and they're both gone. I can select all of this data here. I have 4 rows selected, but remember, we are still leaving this table here on the right intact. I'll right-click and choose Insert. I'm going to shift the cells down again, click OK, and I get 4 new rows of data. We'll do this one more time with columns. I'll click and drag to highlight columns C and D. Right-click. I could either delete them both at the same time, but in this case, I'll choose Insert, and I get to brand new columns. So if you are ready to take your skills to the next level and unlock the full potential of your data, subscribe to my channel today. I can't wait to see you on the next video.